Up your game and celebrate things done well with the great taste of Original 16, official beer of the Calgary Flames. All right, welcome inside the Flames TV Live post-game show. It is brought to you by Original 16. Tonight it is the St. Louis Blues and Calgary Flames. Flames wrapping up a 2-game homestand here on ice. There you see the fresh game stats coming in, and officially it'll go in the books as a 4-3 overtime victory from the St. Louis Blues. They get that one opportunity in the overtime frame and capitalize, but not without some question marks, as there was a review that went under for quite some time, a few minutes spent taking a look at the film and trying to figure out whether or not there was some goaltender interference at play there. And in the end, it was deemed to be clean, and the goal stands as is. Let's take a look at the highlights and go through from top to bottom here how it all goes down here tonight. Starting with the early first period, and it was the St. Louis Blues that opened the scoring. It was a power play marker. The Flames gave up just the one PK through the first 40 minutes, and the Blues took full advantage of it. Zach Bolduc in the slot had all kinds of time and space and is able to finish that off in the late stages of the man advantage for St. Louis. 1-0 at that point, and then they would continue to push for more. Now back to 5-on-5. A nice play in the defensive zone by Jake Neighbors, and then it's Robert Thomas that ends up getting in some open space in the slot and then beats Dan Vladar for Thomas. That's his fourth of the season. You hear the bar. It clanks in a 2-0 lead in favor of the St. Louis Blues. But the answer would come quick from the Calgary Flames. In fact, just 15 seconds later, the fourth line goes to work. Kevin Rooney has the speed to start it out. The point shot gets through, tipped in by Ryan Lomberg, and then there's Jakob Pelletier in his second game in the NHL this season. He's trying to provide the energy. He did exactly that tonight, and then gives the Flames a big boost, makes it a 2-1 hockey game after 20 minutes of play. In the second period, they carried some of that momentum over, and then they get a big power play goal themselves. The power play has been clicking. It's been red hot as of late, and there's some fine work on the wall by Connor Zary, and gets it into some open space. And Matt Coronado, puck movement. That's what he said after he talked about the goal. Just a lot of quick puck movement to get it up and to get it open. Coronado's got 7 on the season, and we're tied 2-2 after 2 periods of play. And then more from the St. Louis Blues here. This is just after the penalty expired. If you take a look up in the neutral zone, the penalized player, Martin Pospisil, just steps back onto the ice, but before he can get back into the action, it was Robert Thomas trying to thread that through to Pavel Buchnevich, and it's Buchnevich that gets at least some kind of eye on it through the traffic, and then finds it into the back of the net for Buchnevich. That's 7 on the season, but once again, the Flames had an answer. It starts in the D zone. There's the play to kill any chance for the St. Louis Blues by Mackenzie Weegar, and then he gets up ice and into the action. Nice forechecking down low. Jonathan Huberdeau. There's Yegor Sharangovich. They're digging away at it, and it's a bit of a knuckler, but it finds its way through the 5-hole of Jordan Binnington, and a tie hockey game, 3-3. This one would need extra time. Flames had a couple of chances earlier in the sequence, and a nice move here by Robert Thomas. And here's the discrepancy that the Calgary Flames are talking about, as Colton Parayko comes in and jams that puck into the back of the net. You see Sharangovich has his stick there, and then it's Parayko that catches a piece and eventually pushes the pad of Dan Vladar into the net. And that's where Calgary Flames were arguing that's goaltender interference, pushing the pad into the crease, trying to get official wording and some sort of information from the league on exactly what they determined on the review process. It was clear that they were taking a look at that pad. We saw the over-the-head shoulder shot of both referees going back over and over that exact same overhead shot, watching Parayko's stick push Dan Vladar's pad into the net. After a lengthy review, it was determined that the goal would stand. 5 on the season from Parayko. Of course, Robert Thomas gets the assist, Dylan Holloway as well. That stands as the game winner, 4-3. The final here tonight. Let's get some reaction. Obviously some disappointment and clearly some frustration as well from the Calgary Flames after seeing that go on the review side the opposite direction. Thought maybe we'd be able to play on, tied 3-3. Instead, it's the Blues that pick up the 4-3 win. Pelletier, one of those good stories in this hockey game. We showed the goal, obviously, but part of the conversation throughout the course of this night, that line had some chances, including 4 shots from Jakob Pelletier, a career high for him tonight. Let's listen in on what he had to say following tonight's loss.
That your group wanted, but how did it feel to be back up here, obviously your second game, and be able to contribute offensively?
Feels good. I think our line kind of keep it simple. I think we play the right way, and tonight we kind of found a big goal.
We kind of, from the outside, saw that celebration, if you will. Was it relief? Was it excitement? Was it everything?
It was everything. It's been a tough year and a half, so but felt good. Just to score a big goal too. It was 2-0, and to kind of find a big goal again felt pretty good, to be honest.
That'll go a long way towards helping your confidence.
Yeah, I think from the first game with the Wranglers, I kind of played more with confidence than I did the past year. So for me, it's just to kind of keep playing the same way.
How do you sort of balance it? Obviously, in a fourth line role, it's about energy and speed and that kind of thing. But I think you also know that producing some offense would help you stay here. So how do you find that balance?
I think if you play the right way, you know what I mean. I play with two guys that got some speed, and I think we keep it simple, and we attack the net. The first shift, Bruins could have scored also. So I think if we keep playing the same way, good things are going to happen for our line.
We saw some of that energy on the bench, the bouncing up and down, and that's kind of your game, right?
It
That's
is.
exactly what you. No problem in managing that.
No, I feel good, to be honest. I feel great. So everything for me, each shift is kind of big, and that's the mindset I have.
How does this group digest the way that hockey game just finished?
It's hard to win, in the NHL it's hard to win. But I think we just got to turn the page and focus on the road trip coming up.
When you talk about playing the right way, we always hear go to the net and get what's happening. It's as simple as that.
It's simple as that. Since I'm young, I'm scoring most of my goal in front of the net, and I don't think it's going to change up here. So, yeah.
Did you tip that one the first time by? Like, did you deflect it?
No, I think
No,
it just
that's
touched
great,
the D-man, and then it was in his feet. So, yeah.
I think that was your first NHL goal in this building.
Yeah, it was.
Do you feel any different than scoring the AHL?
It is. Just to hear the fans kind of screaming is nice.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Congrats.
All right, there's some thoughts from Jakob Pelletier following tonight's loss. Obviously a little bittersweet because you don't finish with the victory, but you do play a big role in this hockey game. And we saw, obviously, the goal and then just the chances, as he described it, kind of playing a simple game, trying to provide lots of energy. Great listening to him after the first intermission, just talking a little bit about Ryan Lomberg and Jakob Pelletier. Together, no shortage of that energy for sure. And that's certainly what they provided here tonight. As mentioned, 4 shots for Jakob Pelletier here tonight. And maybe before we go back into the room, I just wanted to go back to regulation, late stages, before this game even gets to overtime. Both goaltenders playing a big role. Obviously, Jordan Binnington facing almost 40 shots on the other side, not as many for Dan Vladar. But how about this sequence late in the hockey game where both guys make sensational saves? The first one comes from Dan Vladar at this end. Braden Shen had the chance off the end boards. The puck's right there, but look at Dan Vladar reaching out to make that pad save. And then the other end, it's Nazem Kadri setting up Jonathan Huberdeau. These are seconds apart, one at both ends. Huberdeau's robbed by Binnington, and that's what enables this game to get to extra time and eventually get both teams at least a point. Blues pick up the extra. Another guy that was a big part of the fabric of this hockey game, Mackenzie Weegar, was stout defensively all night long, made some great plays in his own end, and then obviously contributed with the game-tying goal that allowed the Flames to get this game into overtime. Let's listen in on Mackenzie Weegar now.
The long delay there. How did that affect? I don't know how you saw it or what you did see, but how does that kind of affect this group?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect us because I believe we played a great 5-on-5 game tonight. But I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I don't think the puck goes in unless he pushes the pad. I thought it was pretty clear. That's really all I got to say about that. But we move on. We got 3 out of 4 during our little homestand right now, and our big focus is getting on the road here and getting some wins on the road.
Mackenzie, you had a pretty good game. I mean, I know you wanted to make the Canadian squad for 4 Nations, but I don't know if you used it as extra motivation, but you had a really solid game as we were looking at on the broadcast. How did it feel from your standpoint?
Yeah, I just go out there and work my hardest every night. Obviously, you're a bit bummed not to make the team, but at the same time, you're pretty honored to still be in the mix. There's a bunch of defensemen that could be on that team. It's a pretty stacked lineup, and I'm proud to say that I was in the mix for that, and I'm rooting for them, of course. I'll be watching. But my game tonight, you guys might see it differently up there. There were times where I thought I was a little sloppy with the puck. My second effort was good because I'd get the puck back, but at first there was some times where I might have gave it up a bit easier. But other than that, it's just working hard, competing hard, trying to, make some offense, trying to play hard defensively and block shots. I think you guys know my game by now, but, that's just what I try to do. And, we got a point tonight, and, the boys dug in. We faced a little adversity, but, it was a good point.
A lot can happen between now and February. Can the Team Canada staff keep your number if they need an extra defenseman?
Yeah, of course they can keep my number. I'll be staring at my phone if there's an injury or whatnot. So, of course, I'd still love to play for the team. That's a no-brainer.
What does a goal like the one Pelletier scored do for your bench?
Oh, that's great. Great for the kid. He's obviously he had a bit of a stint down in the minors, and he went down there with a positive mindset, and he didn't go down there and pout and let it get to his head. He came back up, and he's worked hard, and he earned that goal tonight. It goes a long way for our bench, and he's one of those kids that I think will gain a little momentum out of that. So I'm really happy for him.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
guys.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
All right, so some great stuff there from Mackenzie Weegar, but interesting to hear him talk a little bit about Team Canada. Obviously, the Four Nations face-off rosters announced earlier this week. Rasmus Andersson makes it for Team Sweden. We knew Mackenzie Weegar was in the conversation for Team Canada, so some disappointment there, obviously, but keeps a level head about it and obviously mentions the number. Keep it on file because we still got a long way to go to February, and if injuries do occur, Mackenzie Weegar will be ready. All right, before we hear more reaction from the locker room, we did get the email from the National Hockey League addressing the situation in overtime and the goal that stands, and it's important to note that it was initiated by video review. It went up to the situation room right away. It wasn't challenged, so here is a look at the goal again, taking a second look at it, third look, and maybe fourth look. But here's the explanation from the situation room. The video review determined that no goaltender interference infractions occurred as St. Louis Blues' Colton Parayko made a play on a loose puck in the crease prior to his goal. The decision was made in accordance to Rule 69.7, which states in part that in a rebound situation or where a goalkeeper and attacking players are simultaneously attempting to play a loose puck, whether inside or outside the crease, incidental contact will be permitted, and any goal that is scored as a result, therefore, will be allowed. I know that's a lot of legal read, but that at least gives you some sense of what the NHL viewed it. They're saying incidental contact because it was a loose puck, and everyone has the right to go for it. So that's the determination from the NHL Situation Room officially here tonight. All right, let's go back inside the Calgary Flames locker room. Let's listen in now on not right. Okay, we'll hang tight there. We're going to hear from Dan Vladar, I think, in a few moments, get his kind of feedback of it. But maybe let's first focus on the power play because it continues to remain red hot for the Calgary Flames, and obviously a big part of getting them another point here tonight. And they get their 10th power play goal in the last 9 games. So the statistics kind of speaking for themselves. 10 for 27 over the last 9 games. That's clicking just at about 37%. Here's a look at the last 2 nights. So this 2-game homestand there was the big one from Rasmus Andersson. We remember that and will remember that. Then Kevin Ball, which he joked this morning that he wasn't trying to stay in the power play meetings. But that was 2 on Tuesday night. And then Matt Coronado gets another one here tonight. And the timing of them, obviously, the magnitude of them, some big points allowed for the Calgary Flames because of goals that they've scored on the power play. As mentioned, 37%, 10 for 27 over their past 9 games. The power play continues to roll it along. And maybe let's talk a little bit about Dan Vladar because he was good here tonight as well. And not facing the shot total that Jordan Binnington faced in the other side of things, but Dan Vladar obviously was tested, especially in that third period. Has to make a couple of really big cross-seam pass, one-timer type saves, and he's been steady for the Calgary Flames. First time this season that he started in 3 consecutive games, goes 16 for 16 on Tuesday night, gets the shutout, and then obviously gets to go right back in here tonight. But that's one of those saves that we're talking about. The one-time looks, trying to stretch him from post to post, and he was responding well, makes that big save on Torpchenko here as well, and held steady in that third period. Wasn't facing a ton. You take a look at the shot count throughout the course of the night. 8 in the first, 9 in the second, 4 in the third period, and then in the overtime, of course, gets tested with those 2 late stages, and first made that stop on Robert Thomas. This was late in the third, as we showed you earlier. Braden Shen, the side of the cage, just gets that pad back. That's the big reach of Dan Vladar, and made the initial save on Robert Thomas, only to have the St. Louis Blues score from Colton Parayko. So that's kind of been the situation for Dan Vladar. Solid, and even though he's not getting the shots, Calgary Flames have been really stingy on home ice. We've showed you time and time again just how little they've allowed in terms of the goals against through this stretch. Now it's points in 7 straight. Of course, had the 6-game winning streak on home ice coming into tonight, which gets snapped, but they do have the point streak going. They just got to find that 4th goal tonight, which they weren't able to do. Let's focus a little bit on the line of Nazem Kadri, Martin Pospisil, and Jonathan Huberdeau tonight, because it seemed like they were due for one coming in late in the third period. And Martin Pospisil kind of getting back to the way that we saw him earlier on, in this season and then in parts last season, where he was just buzzing all over the ice and creating a little bit of havoc down low. There was a couple of opportunities early on, taking face-offs on his strong side, snaps a couple back, and then goes to the middle part of the ice, gets a couple redirects that go just wide. But here's where he was starting to do a lot of work down low, just winning puck battles, him and Jonathan Huberdeau, and playing a little catch at this side of the net. That leads to a Huberdeau chance, and unfortunately not able to capitalize there or bury that one. But he was all around it here tonight. Nazem Kadri had that chance late, setting up Jonathan Huberdeau, and it seemed like that line might be the one that would find them the game-winning goal here tonight, just because of the types of chances that they were able to produce throughout the course of the night. And then, of course, weren't able to find it eventually. But promising signs in terms of line chemistry, and seeing Pospisil, Huberdeau, and Kadri connect throughout the course of this night. All right, let's go back inside the locker room. Let's get some reaction from Dan Vladar now.
I guess we should ask how you saw it. What do you think about it?
I just saw it at the Jumbotron, so I got to take a look at it again and then talk to Chipsy. I think, in my opinion, he's the best in the league at it. So whatever he says, I believe it. But obviously, I respect the call, and it is what it is.
Did you feel the push on your pad? No, the stick pushing your pad in?
I mean, I just felt that I had to make one extra save than Bennington, and I didn't. So, they got the win, and but I think we deserve to win today for sure. For guys, but they played a really good game in front of me. So we were playing good hockey, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough.
And it looked like you were maybe talking to the refs after. Can you shed some light on what you were saying there?
I don't want to talk about it. Obviously, emotions get into play, but nothing disrespectful for sure.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Cheers to another season of great times and great taste. Celebrate things done well. Original 16, official beer sponsor of the Calgary Flames. Must be legal drinking age.
Game Live, it is brought to you by Original 16. Got some brief reaction there from Dan Vladar. Obviously, his perspective a little bit difficult, just given he's fighting for that loose puck. He's trying to keep the puck out of the net after making that initial save on Robert Thomas, and does a really good job to make that first stop. Just can't keep the puck out after Colton Parayko was able to jam it in. So we'll get some reaction from the head coach, Ryan Huska. I know he's headed towards the podium now, and maybe before we do that, let's just get some reaction from this morning, because we talked about the other side, Mackenzie Weegar not being named to Team Canada yesterday. Well, Rasmus Andersson, it's a big deal to him. Hasn't represented his country going back to U18s. He'll get that opportunity to represent Sweden at the Four Nations face-off. This was him this morning just talking about the honor that it is to be named to Team Sweden. All right, pleased to be joined by Flames defenseman as well as Team Sweden defenseman, named yesterday officially a Four Nations roster. Congratulations first and foremost, but what was it like getting the call and the opportunity to be part of the national team?
Yeah, thank you, first and foremost.
You're welcome.
I found out a few weeks ago. Super excited. Haven't been able to play with the national team for quite some time, so it was a special feeling. I've always loved, representing my country, and to be able to do that on best, it's something special, and I'm super excited. And my family's always been by my side, and like to thank my teammates too. Wouldn't have been possible without them.
Well, we've talked a lot about it. It's been a long time since we've been able to see best on best. Now it's Four Nations going toe-to-toe in a short little window. What excites you the most about the opportunity and the group that you have?
Just to honestly play and play, best on best, and even if you wouldn't get selected, you would still end up watching because it's finally the best players playing against each other, even though it's only 4 nations, and the games will be a lot of fun, I think, and it's going to be a hell of a show, and it puts you if you have a good tournament, it projects you obviously in a good course towards the Olympics, and that's the ultimate goal. And just to be able to watch and play, and best on best will be a lot of fun.
Well, it's interesting because all right, good stuff there from Rasmus Andersson this morning about the opportunity, and we look forward to seeing him perform the same way he does on a nightly basis here with the Calgary Flames, up over 26 minutes once again tonight, a couple of shots and a couple of blocks as well, as he continues to be one of the league leaders in that category. It's been fun to watch him and Kevin Ball throughout the course of the season, and we're again here tonight. Let's get some reaction from the head coach now. Let's see his perspective on the sequence. I'm sure they watched it back in the coach's room. Let's hear now from the head coach, Ryan Huska.
How did you see the last goal in your head?
I don't even know how to answer that. Like, it's frustrating, to be quite honest with you. And hey, if you're going to call it that way, that's fine. But the referees can come over and explain it. They just skate themselves right off the ice. That, to me, is the part that bothers me a little bit as to why. Why was it a good goal? So the way I see it, Danny made a save, and he probably would have kept it out if his pad wasn't pushed in, but that's the way it is.
What was, up to that point, kind of your assessment of what you got from the group?
I really liked our game, 5-on-5 and power play. I did not like our penalty kill. So that's the frustrating thing for me. There was a lot of good things in tonight's game. We played it hard. I thought we played it well. I thought as the game went on, we started to take over. A lot of time was spent in the offensive zone in the third period, so I don't have a lot of complaints about those portions of our game, but we do most definitely need to get better on our penalty kill.
Do you feel like you guys are getting any closer to finding a solution?
No. Well, there is a solution. A penalty kill is short a guy, so you have to outwork a power play. So if you're willing to do that, you're going to kill penalties off. It's not rocket science killing penalties, but our penalty kill does not match our 5-on-5 play, and that to me is where the issue comes in.
And are you concerned about your face-off percentage on special teams?
Overall, I mean, yeah, it's an area that we have struggled with this year, and the guys are working on it in practice. It's not for a lack of effort, but it is something that you have to grab hold of, because whether it's power play having to go all the way down the ice in the first touch, or it's the penalty kill staying in your zone, they really do matter. And I think when you look at most good teams, they've got guys in the middle of the ice that will win draws. So our guys will keep working at it, and I know they'll get better.
Right, and just to circle back on what you just said about the penalty kills, I think there are a lot of your heading 5-on-5 guys, and so for the PK to maybe not be outworking power play, like what do you see that's
always a part of it for sure when you haven't had a good run over the last little while. But again, I've mentioned it before, that to me is when you need to get more aggressive.
What did you see from Jakob Pelletier?
I thought that line was good again tonight. It had a little bit of funny flow to the game where they didn't get out there quite as much as I would have liked to have seen them out there tonight, but I thought he skated tonight. Didn't like the one mistake with the puck that he made in the first period, but I thought the line was effective for us.
Is his goal a pretty good example of just what he needs to do to be successful, just driving the net? Or going to the net?
Yeah, for me, it's the goals aside, like it's the speed and making sure his detail is where it needs to be. So when he is moving his feet, he's an effective player.
What do you think of Coronado tonight?
I liked Matty tonight. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, so the head coach obviously expressing a little bit of frustration with maybe not only the decision, but the fact that not a lot of explanation from the officials on this night about the decision on their way out. So that'll be part of the conversation moving forward. Just it's always a little bit of a gray area when it comes to plays like that. Obviously, they looked at it long enough to know that it wasn't as cut and dry as you might want it to be, but there was an ineffective decision made at the end of it that ends up costing the Calgary Flames an opportunity to chase down that second point. And they fall 4-3 here in the final tonight on that Colton Parayko game winner in overtime. But the Flames have points in 7 consecutive on home ice. Their home ice record 10-3-1 on the campaign, but now they're headed out on the road. It starts Sunday, December 8th, a 2-game road trip. It'll be the Dallas Stars first before the Nashville Predators cap it off and then return back home to Calgary for a date against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Back-to-back Florida opponents starting on the 12th of December, right back here at the Scotiabank Saddledome as the month rolls on. The Flames trying to take some of this momentum and build it on the road next. Thanks for watching Flames Postgame Live, brought to you by Original 16. We'll see you next week here at the Dome.